Hello my friends and welcome. When I first time saw those pictures, I thought that it's one more attack on the Kerch bridge. It happened the last afternoon and here you can see lots of the smoke in different areas of the bridge. Especially in the area of the iconic arc where the ships usually pass by. There were lots of the images published in the internet showing the similar picture. Plus Russia started to fire lots of the air defense rockets, and here you can see on this picture is the air defense system. So some Russians just filmed it at the entrance to the Kerch bridge, exposing the position of the Russian air defense. This is one more video and there you may see that Russia shuts down something probably. But after those pictures were published, it became understandable that it is just the artificial smoke systems installed on the Kerch bridge. I just wonder what is the purpose of that smoke, because rockets may find the bridge anyway. The Russian officials say that it was the Ukrainian attempt to attack the bridge with S-200 anti-aircraft rockets. Well, those have quite a long range and were already used to attack the Russian military targets on the Russian territory. Russia claims that Ukraine was able to modernize those rockets to be ground-to-ground missiles. Before, only Russia did that modification to their S-300 rockets. So I do not exclude that Ukraine definitely performed that attack. Russia launched the air defense missiles several times and locals report about 8 of explosions happened in the skies near to the Kerch bridge. Probably Ukrainian missiles were intercepted by the Russian defense, or it could be just theater for the public. Locals were just chilling at the beach, then it happened. They all thought that it was the attack on the bridge. That is what I thought at first. Well, what can I suggest for those people? Just not to look in that direction, to keep positive and not put the bad thoughts in your mind. Don't look up as usual. But some Russians even film what is happening in the skies, spreading that negative information around and also in internet. For example, this is the crash of Sukhoi Su-30 Russian military fighter jet. So you can see it on the video. It was performing some sort of that stunt, showing off in front of the public, and went down behind the trees. Here we see it was some sort of the Russian session or festival. Those are the remains of the airplane and both of the pilots went total kaput. By the way, it was the Russian Air Force Day celebration. So those pilots did a grave mistake over there. We have some awesome news coming from the South front lines, especially from Urozhaine. But before I tell you about it, let me shout out the sponsor of today's video. Yes, as usual, it's our long-term partner, the Atlas VPN. We are more than 1 year together with Atlas. That is why sometimes they present some sort of the perks for my audience. That is why they have the special discount program for my followers, where you can get the Atlas VPN Premium for just $170 per month, plus 6 months for free. This deal is the best one on the market from all of the premium VPNs. First of all, I do care about my security, because Atlas VPN has a special design data breach monitoring system. If I have the Atlas VPN warning, then someone tries to reach my device, I switch off the public Wi-Fi. Atlas also has awesome feature of the multiple devices support from the single account, so I use Atlas VPN on my iPhone, laptop and iPad. I always keep it on to make sure that my devices are protected. Then I have some free time. I would like to watch my favorite series on the Netflix platform. So not only Atlas VPN gives me the permission to access any kind of series in my country which are blocked or not blocked, but it gives me fantastic streaming speed. So now my friends, please check out my personal link in the video description just below, where you may find the Atlas VPN Premium for just $170 per month, plus 6 months for free. This offer was created especially for my followers, so hurry up to join the club. And now let's check out the situation in Urozhaine. As you can see, Ukraine reached the end of the village, which doesn't mean that there are no Russians left in this area. They still may fight, but the main Russian forces already left their village. This scenario is exactly what I told you yesterday and the day before yesterday. Ukraine uses lots of the artillery systems, aviation bombs and many other tools to get rid of the Russians in this particular place. This is the very important village that opens the way further. And we have the confirmation also from the Russian channels. They say that their forces left the village. Maybe someone stayed there, just 1 or 2 soldiers who were not able to run away at the proper time. Yet we don't have the update from the military map for today. Staromayorsky was taken by Ukrainian forces, liberated, and Urozhaine, the show, is partially under the Russian control, but for now I am sure that Ukraine is able to get to the end of the village, taking it back. For tomorrow's update, I am sure that the deep state will show the actual picture. So what is the next step for Ukrainian army is to go to Staromlinivka. This is the very important Russian hub and it stays just in the front of the main defense lines. The Ukrainian forces will advance at first to Zavitne Bazhaina village, but there are just few of the buildings. It's not like Urozhaine or Staromlinivka. No, this is the tiny little village. However, there is very important crossroad. I don't think that Ukraine will stay there for a long time. We'll continue to assault to Staromlinivka from 2 of the directions, one from this side and the other one from this side. So liberating Urozhaine was a very important task for Ukraine, because our army just cannot bypass this village and leave it behind. Let's zoom out a little and see the Russian defense lines. You may see that there are also some other villages like Orlinsky, Georgievka, but those are again very small. The biggest village in this area is Staromlinivka. So again, I expect long and hard fight for it, but it opens the straight way to the Russian defense. If Ukraine penetrates the Russian defense here, it is the free way to go to Berdyansk, for example, or to Mariupol. Yes, there are also some of the defense lines, but they are not as significant as this one. The Ukrainian army still keeps its reserves, and from what I see, we have 2 main vectors, as I told you probably in one of my videos. One is over here and the other one in Orikhiv direction. This one is, I think, harder because there are many of the Russian defense lines. They try to protect the way to Crimea. Because if Ukrainian army advances from this direction, it's quite not possible to go to Crimea. It's the long distance. As for Crimea, there are only 2 ways, one from Orikhiv, the other one is from Kherson. Well, from Energodar it's also possible, but again there should be some sort of the pontoon bridges created across the Dnieper River, the same as in Kherson, by the way. As I told you many times already, Ukraine landed in Kazachie Lahiri. Today Russia started to accumulate some sort of the supplies and forces in Radensk to send for reinforcements to Kazachie Lahiri. However, Ukraine targeted the Russian supply hub in Radensk, causing them to evacuate. Ukraine uses quite a lot of resources to protect the bridgehead in Kazachie Lahiri. Yesterday, one of the Russian convoys was targeted near to Novakhovka. Today, the attack on the Russian supplies, it means that Ukraine is very serious, so it may potentially expand this area and take this very important road under control. Russia lost one more Terminator 2 armored vehicle. It was targeted by the FPV drone. You can see the silhouette of this armored vehicle. Russia says that it doesn't have any kind of the analogs in other armies. Basically, it has the tank base on the top. In the turret there are some anti-tank missiles and some of the 30mm cannons. So potentially Terminator 2 may fight against the infantry vehicles or even tanks. In reality, it's kind of clumsy because it has the tank engine and the tank chassis. So Ukraine was able to target this Russian vehicle using the FPV drones. You might have seen that this vehicle was shooting. After several of the FPV attacks on this vehicle, Russia sent the tank to tow it away. But this time the tank went under the fire of the FPV drones. Many wonderful videos were filmed. Unfortunately, I cannot post everything on this platform. So if you want to know more, you may follow me on Telegram. You may find it in the video description just below. So we have bingo, the Russian Terminator together with a Russian tank were disabled. FPV drones matter. By the way, this is the Urozhaine village that was freed from the Russian occupiers. Here we have the video from the thermal camera of the drone. This is the artillery correction. Just for you to understand, this is the end of the village, the southern part of it, and this is the northern part of the village. Actually, it's not that small, it goes there as well. So this is the southern part just of this village. And this is the last place in Urozhaine where Russia concentrate their forces and supplies. So what happened to it? You may see on this video. Our artillery just got rid of the Russian hub. So in a few hours, the remainings of the Russian forces were forced to retreat from Urozhaine. The Russian soldiers tried to evacuate some of their supplies. You can see the tank mines on this carriage. So definitely they used these agricultural buildings as their main storages. However, they were too late with evacuation, and that is what happened to them. This is the new defense concept of the Russian infantry vehicles. It looks very interesting. I don't know how to call it. You may write in the comment section just below. And again, this roof is very high to protect against the FPV drones. Probably it was done to protect this vehicle against the javelin shell, but it is way easier now to spot this vehicle on a battlefield. Alright, finally we have some of the encouraging articles from the mainstream media resources that before said that the counterattack of Ukrainian army has failed. This time, for example, the New York Times said that Ukraine makes tactical significant progress in its counteroffensive. They say that troops advance up to 12 miles along the two main lines of attack. Yes, the mainstream media always want to trigger you. Everything's failed. Oh no, everything is okay. They just want people to read their articles. Well, sometimes there is quite useful information that you may find only on the mainstream resources because they still have power to obtain the information from quite closed resources. Alright, there was the conflict with a deadly outcome between the Ahmad forces and the regular Russian army. It happened in Urzuv, which is very close to Mariupol. Well, so far we are in lack of the many details of what happened there precisely, but from what I understood, one of the Kadyrov soldiers of Ahmad battalion just pulled out his automatic rifle and kaputted two of the cars with military inside. It shows again that the Russian army is in lack of discipline. The Russian army also lost their fuel supply track between Melitopol and Berdyansk. It's quite away from the front lines, around 50 kilometers away. Poland may send up to 6,000 soldiers to the border of Belarus. They already deployed something between 3,000 and 4,000 soldiers over there. The threat to Poland, Lithuania and Latvia is coming from Belarus. And the Wagner PMC, which is deployed in Belarus territory. I must say that the rumors about the possible Wagner movement back to Russia were probably fake news. They will continue to stay in Belarus and Russia will pay for it. At the same time, the self-proclaimed president of Belarus, Lukashenko, says that he wants to normalize the relations with Poland and Lithuania. Why does he say like that? Well, it's just a usual trick. The United States of America is pushing Egypt to provide weaponry for Ukraine. However, Egypt continued to resist. The last year, Egypt even wanted to supply some of the rockets and artillery to the Russian Federation, but after the United States pushed Egypt a little bit, they refused to supply weaponry to Russia. Now it's turn to supply that weaponry to Ukraine. But it's very hard to convince the Egypt government to provide the weaponry to Ukraine. My friends, and now please press the like to this video, and also don't forget to check my personal link, which is in the video description just below, where you may find the Atlas VPN Premium with a great discount. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.